have you heard about the AI robots that killed a bunch of people in a lab? 29 scientists to be specific.
I briefly saw the AI thing. I also love AI.
Oh, you
so
did?
I'm super excited for that story. But I haven't.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I thought you were going to be like, nope, don't know. Because you know how you're like, I'm not really into like.
The one thing I do pay attention to is AI. I love that stuff.
Me too.
I love that stuff.
Nuts.
Scary,
that's awesome.
I love it.
Okay. So here we go. 4 AI robots kill 29 scientists in Japan? Question mark. It's false. This clip's from the beginning of the speech of the conference of like 1918 when the Molten is a conspiracy theorist. Oh, I love how they always use this conspiracy theory shit.
At a top robotics...
A conspiracy theorist is like, some things are facts. It's not a conspiracy if it's a fact. Let's see.
Company in Japan this week. 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd. But the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before.
So according to this video, she presented no evidence whatsoever. So that's the one video. One day ago, this conspiracy theory about AI robots killing 29 in Japan. The internet loves nothing more than a good conspiracy theory. Okay, I get it. It's entertaining. But seriously, you said you heard about this yourself, right?
Yeah, I feel like I did. But now, I did a project on a bunch of AI stuff back maybe like 4 years ago. So maybe that checks out that I would have came across that then if this happened in 2018.
Right. But why are they talking about it right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something else just came out about it. But I was doing my project on I don't know if you remember this, but there's a Ukrainian citizen actually that's an AI robot. So it's the first AI citizen of anywhere, really. So I thought that was really cool. But my project was kind of just about like, where does the line fall between like human/robot if we're giving them like citizenship already, and just like the exponential growth of AI, just how like something 5 years ago to now, like the next 5 years we're going to grow even more than that, if that makes any sense. It's just we're going to keep growing at like such a crazy process. And the fact that that said something about the robot like hacking into a satellite to figure out how to like work itself, it's just like human brains can't comprehend any of that. So that's why it's scary.
I believe it though. Like, why is it so hard to believe?
Right. Like, that's what I said. Like, it's always a conspiracy when it has to deal with things that we can't understand and technology and AI and stuff. But it's so real. So real.
Yeah. In fact, I just saw this other guy. I think his name is Scott Adams. He's like a cartoonist and whatnot. He also does like his live podcast every day. I just started following him just as a curiosity. I'm like, okay, coffee with Scott Adams. And he was just mentioning how an AI did a picture of him. And he was saying, you know, it's not that difficult to believe because if you're an artist, then you're all into the art world and you know that art is math. So of course a robot can do it. He goes, but what's scary is that the robot could have made him look exactly as himself and yet took its own freedom of artistry to paint him the way they did. Do you see what I mean? Like, why did the robot choose to do that?
Yeah. It's like this concept of like a robot having like free will or something. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, even if this is a hoax, even if it's a conspiracy, whatever, plenty of scientists for years now have said it's inevitable that AI will be like, you know, the Matrix and they take over. Like, why wouldn't they?
Exactly. And a lot of people, I feel like people kind of push that under the rug. That just think 10 years ago, we didn't have technology anywhere near the way it was now. Can you imagine 10 years from this point in 2032? We're going to have stuff we literally as human brains can't even like think of. Like, we're gonna have like Wall-E type robots around.
Yeah.
It's gonna be we're going to rely on robots to do everything, and we already do now, so it's only just going to get worse. And I feel like people ignore that and push it under the rug, but it's a very real thing. It's a very, very real thing.
It's like, I understand as humans, we want to be creative. We are creative. We're meant to be creative beings, and a co-creator at that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we co-create our own reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever your thoughts are becomes your reality. It becomes it. You know, you think of it today and then it happens tomorrow and you're like, did I just manifest that? Or like, you know, but it's the truth. I mean, just like if you tell yourself every day that you're ugly, you think you're going to look better, or you think you might look worse after a while? Like, just think about it, right?
Yeah,
but if you tell yourself, I look good, I look good, I look good, then all of a sudden you're looking good. And everyone's like, hey, what are you doing lately? You're looking really good. Would you lose some weight? Did you do this? Did you change your hair? You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's so true that even this, and I'm comparing very extreme comparison. I'm comparing something very small. Like I'm giving you on purpose the opposite, like the extreme opposite of AI, and how we're more powerful than we even know. And yet we're making these machines that are, in a sense, creatures of our own doing. So I understand our whole obsession with being creative and creating things like this, and like almost like playing God. That's what I was getting at with the whole creation thing. But it's like, it's like, you know, some things maybe are just not equipped to handle. Just because we can build it doesn't mean we can handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the nuclear bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so you created that. Oh, yeah, you know how to split atoms, and you know what happens from it. You know the radiation, all the bad things. And that doesn't mean we should do it.
Yeah, exactly. And
what's
I think
wrong?
that's the scary thing about making these AIs, not even just robots, just like the AI that is in your phone and in a computer and stuff like that, in your car. Like, the fact that we are, yes, making these things, but there will be a point that like those things will be making us and like shaping and molding like the human brain just as much as we're shaping and molding the AI right now. Like, well, there will be a point that humans are behind.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I'm dying to ask you the question of, so are you familiar with the WEF and the whole Charles Schwab and Harari, and how they're like, humans are hackable and we're going to hack them now and we're going to put chips in them. You know, before it was to help a guy who's, you know, can't move, has some kind of, you know, brain injury or whatever the issue is. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. Because if before he was stuck to a wheelchair, now from this chip, he can walk. That's amazing. That's great. I get that part of science. But when they're like in Davos and all these, you know, conventions that they're doing, they're talking about how, you know, in a few years, like by 2030, no one's going to have a cell phone. It's going to be, your cell phone's going to be implanted in your brain. What? No. And they say it like, yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah. Like we're going to take everybody's phone away. And if they want to be part of society, they have to do this. And I'm like, and either people aren't watching, they don't realize that these small group of people are making our future decisions. And they're talking like we don't exist. You know, like when you talk about somebody and they're sitting right next to you and you act like they're not in the room. It's crazy.